Hey guys, it's Dante. I'm out here in my outside kitchen area, but I'm fixing to go inside the RV and mix up something that I have never tried before. You guys know that Carnivore Crisps has been supporting my channel with an affiliation that has really been great for me and great for a lot of you that have enjoyed the Carnivore Crisps brand for their crispy snacks. But they've come up with a new product that they wanted me to try. I had no idea what they were sending me when this came in the mail the other day. But this is what it is, grass-fed beef flour. I have no idea what to make with flour, so I brought some of this to the restaurant that I work at, and I spoke to a few of the chefs there, and they gave me some recommendations of some things I could try. So I'm gonna try one of them out now. Let's see how it comes out. One of them suggested I try an egg wash, coat the meat with this, and give it a try. I'm actually gonna try it with Warrior Burger. This particular flour is grass-fed beef. I'm gonna make this for my wife because I've already had some food today and she just texted me and says she wants a burger, so I'm gonna surprise her with something special this time. 3 eggs ought to be enough, maybe too much, but I'd rather go over than under. Make sure I get her something good. There we go. Nice and mixed together. Alright, got the meat out now. Let's put some of this flour on this plate here. Tastes like powdered beef. There, that way we got enough for it to roll around in. Fried burger with meat fried flour. Meat flour. I don't even know what to think of this right now. This is the craziest thing I think I've ever seen. But you know, it's nice to have a little variety in a meat diet. I'm gonna have to try some too. There goes the meat in the egg wash. I may not even needed an egg wash for burger meat like this. This is Warrior Burger, so it's already got, you know, beef heart, beef liver, kidneys, and regular beef, and a lot of suet mixed in with it because it's a 50-50 fat mix. Just run it over the top of it here so I don't have to flip it. I don't know what kind of Frankenstein we're gonna get from this, but I bet it's gonna taste good. Put a little more on here. All right, let's take this out to the air fryer and see how it works out. All right, first thing I want to do is get this thing preheated. So I'm gonna set it on grill, and I'm gonna go ahead and do it at 400 degrees. You can see how these look, all prepared to go in. They don't look much different probably in this light. They just got a powder on them, a powder of meat. I'm gonna add a little bit of smoked salt for her. There's the hickory. Oh, and for this one I'm gonna try it without the grill. All right, we got the add food alert, so let's see what we can do about getting these in there for the first time. Fry a burger. That's how they look going in. Alright, here we are at the halfway point. Interesting. It's a different look. Alright, let's see the final result here. Really, it just looks like an interesting looking hamburger for the most part. First, just taste what's on the spatula. You can kind of taste the flavor of what was on there. And it doesn't look a whole lot different than a regular hamburger.
Like a piece, like right there.
Just a little piece?
Yeah. Did you add anything else? Just salt, maybe
just a
pepper?
little bit of hickory salt.
Okay.
I don't notice much difference.
Me either. Me either.
Okay. If anything, it might need some more salt.
Salt's fine, honey.
Do you think the salt's fine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the salt.
I always think it needs more salt.
I mean, it tastes good.
I guess I need to try it with something else.
But it tastes great.
Well, first experiment worked at least.
It's good. It's really
it
good.
doesn't taste bad.
No, not at all.
It just doesn't taste like anything really special. I don't feel like I added anything to it.
It's not a flavoring. It's not a seasoning.
I know that, but it didn't really change the texture either.
A little bit. It has a little bit of a different texture.
A little crispier on the outside.
But that's it. Other than that, I think it holds the integrity of the meat very well. Inside that pack, though, does it say if they add any seasonings or flavor? It's just itself.
It's just meat flour and Redmond salt.
Right. So, like, let's say you want to do your own special one. You could take the meat flour and then add your salt seasonings.
I did add some.
Right, and that will add to it. But I'm glad they left it that way. That way you don't. That way you can add whatever you want to it for flavor. It's just like if you bought regular seasoning packets. Just
well, here you go for you and Luke. I'm gonna try the beef organ blend this time, along with some of their beef butter, and make a, I guess you would call it a glaze, or maybe like a drizzle or a gravy to go on top of my steak that I'm about to make. I'm gonna make a T-bone steak in my air fryer the way I normally do from frozen. I'm gonna make it with Redmond salt, but then I'm gonna add this glaze and see if it takes my steak to a different level. Maybe adds a little flavor that I'm not used to having, but still giving me delicious beef that keeps me on Lion Diet and keeps me on Carnivore. And I'm just going to add a little bit of my favorite salt. I'm going to use the cherry smoked salt. Now, this beef organ flour only has grass-fed beef heart, grass-fed beef liver, grass-fed beef kidney, and Redmond real salt. Those are the ingredients in here. But I've tasted it. There's not enough salt to hit my fancy, so I'm going to add a little bit more to the meat itself and take this to a level that I really appreciate. There we go. So I got it at 475 degrees. I'm going to set a timer so I can flip this halfway through. Alright, let's go inside and make our glaze, drizzle, gravy, whatever you want to call it. Alright, I got this idea from one of the chefs that work at the restaurant that is in the hotel that I work at. And, you know, to be honest with you, they thought it was the weirdest thing they'd ever seen. But, you know, that's to be expected. I understand that they're not used to dealing with carnivores and what we're trying to do with our diet. They're used to working with vegans and vegetarians and all of those things, but we just got to keep making our presence known, guys, and let them know that we need good food too, and we want it to be all meat. So I'm going to get this whipped up. I'm going to take a 2-to-1 ratio, 2 parts carnivore flour and 1 part beef butter to make up my, oh man, this looks so good. It's not as hard as ghee. Let me taste it. Reminds me of suet. I'm going to put it all the way on low. And I put 3 parts of that in there, so I'm going to put 1, 2, 6. This should make more than I would need for that one steak. I'm going to go ahead and take it off of the heat because I think it's already had enough. You can see it's got the consistency of maybe almost like liquefied chocolate or something. Let this cool off a little bit to where I can pour it without it being too runny. I'm going to let this sit for a little bit and see if it congeals some. Still a little too liquidy. Yeah, I should have used less butter. It doesn't have a real organy flavor to it. It doesn't taste strong like liver at all. Now I used about 1/3 of the jar, and at $25 a jar, that's a pretty big add-on to a steak that's already not cheap. But, you know, if you got the means and you want to mix it up some and you're used to a carnivore lifestyle and you need to try something different, maybe this will be a solution for you. I asked people on my Facebook group what would they do if they had some meat flour made out of meat. Most of them said they would make bread. And I said, well, yeah, that would be nice, but that'd be an expensive loaf of bread. Alright, I just checked the temperature on my steak. It's ready to come out and rest. So we're going to pull it out. Alright, and now that it's been resting for a couple of minutes, let's see how we're doing here. Yeah, it's starting to be a little bit more gooey, less juicy. This is an interesting way to add organ meat to your steak. Definitely made more than I need for this one steak. This is probably enough for 3 or 4. And we'll let that sit and rest a little longer. Then I'm going to cut into it and see how it tastes. This is what it looks like. Let's give it a try. You can definitely taste the difference. It doesn't have that organ meat taste, that overpowering organ meat taste, but you can tell that you're having at least beef heart. I don't taste any liver. I can usually taste the liver when I make my warrior burger. So this must not have as high of a concentration of liver. It tastes really good. Let me try some of the fillet side of this T-bone steak here. It's got a big piece of fillet on it for a T-bone. It's more like a porterhouse. It's definitely not something I would do all the time, but it's nice for a little change of pace. It's like having steak and gravy. And the gravy doesn't have any bad stuff in it, so I'm enjoying it. I've never used flour to cook anything, so I'm just winging it here. Well guys, I've tried everything. My limited knowledge about working with flour is to know what to do with these Carnivore Crisps beef flour. I've been wanting to make some pemmican again because I'm going to be going to Austin soon, and if I make these ahead of time before I go, I'll have some survival food with me for while I'm on vacation. I don't have to worry about being caught in a situation, not be able to have something to eat at all. I could just fast, but you know, ever since I've been exercising as much as I have been and working so much harder, I find that I have an appetite that doesn't want to do any fasting right away. So eventually I'm going to get back to fasting, but I want to be prepared. So I'm going to use some of this already ground beef flour to make some more pemmican. Thankfully, while I was at work yesterday, Katie got some more suet rendered up for me in the crock pot here so that I'd be ready to go when the time came. So let's go ahead and pour some of this rendered suet into this container here, and we'll get just enough to hopefully make a little pemmican. You know, last time I made this pemmican, it just came out so delicious, especially when I used some of my cherry smoked salt with it. I can't wait to try it again. This is all good stuff. I'm not going to get rid of any of it. There we go. Alright. Alright, so we got a nice big container of rendered fat here. I want to be able to pour just a little bit into a smaller container. Alright, here we got the beef organ blend, grass-fed beef flour. This makes for some really good pemmican because it's ground so fine. Alright, cover this one up, put it in the fridge. Just want to make sure it's nice and separated in here. We don't have any pockets of powder that aren't getting liquefied. Take my little ingot maker here. Let's see how many we can get out of this. So I got me a nice big spoon here so I can make sure I get the meatiest parts out. At least this is making a good bit more than that first batch I made did. The first time I only made a couple of these with a whole bag of ribeye. Let's see if we got enough to make one more. Alright, let's add some cherry smoked salt. We'll mix those in. 6 whole pieces this time as opposed to just 2 the way I did the last time. And now I'm going to go place this in the refrigerator for a couple hours and see how it came out. Alright, so the pemmican sat overnight. It's plenty hard now. Oh my goodness. This is perfect. Well, I want to save these for Austin, but I want to try one right now and see how they taste so you guys can know whether it was worth the experiment to use the beef flour and beef organ flour to make these. I don't want to stop eating it. That says something. And they all came out good. They all have a really thin line, just like this one does. So I can just put these in some parchment paper and tie it off. I just love pemmican. I'm trying to save this last piece, but it's so good. It's not bursting with flavor like a ribeye, but it's hard to stop eating. Yep, that's real good stuff. It looks like big pieces of candy, doesn't it? Nope, that's my pemmican. I just wrapped them up in some parchment paper and I'll carry them on as a lunch bag. Hopefully they won't give me a hard time getting on the plane with these. I'll probably have to put them in the stowaway bags. But I wound up eating the whole first one. It was too good. But these are great for emergency use. And they'll last a long time like this. They don't even need to be refrigerated from what I understand, but I'm gonna refrigerate them just in case. So that's it for the Carnivore Crisps flour, at least from my experience. Now, some of you guys with a lot better imagination than I have and a lot more skill in the kitchen might be able to do something a lot better than I was able to do. If you wanna give some a try, you can go to carnivorecrisps.com and use my coupon code Dante and place your order and see if you can do something with it. I'd love to hear if you do. If you come up with a good solution for this Carnivore Crisps flour, please leave a comment, because I love when Carnivore Crisps tries to make up some new ideas for their meat. You know, it's grass-fed, grass-finished beef. You can't go wrong with that. And it tastes great. I love the Carnivore Crisps brand. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. I'll see you guys next time.
If we pay extra, could we maybe get some grease or fat?